Normally we have the little intro video, but for some reason Restream's not letting me do that. So instead of the classic 60 minute, Jesus, 60-second wait, you see our beautiful faces right off the bat. So beautiful. Look at us. Oh my God, yeah. Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of the W Key podcast. If you don't know, my name is Josh, aka Jay Frosty, and with me, as always, is my brother and co-host, aka Matt, aka Technique. We like to bring you this little gaming podcast on a somewhat regular basis. I say that because we missed last week. We were going to be on. I wasn't feeling it on Monday. We rescheduled to Wednesday, and then Wednesday didn't end up working out. So we just said, you know what? We'll go to next Monday. And that's what we did. So here we are. It's been 3 weeks since the last episode. Lots gone on, lots happening. So it's going to be an interesting episode. Obviously, we can only cover so much. But I think it's going to be a good one either way. I think we got a lot on deck.
For sure.
Yeah. So we'll get the boring stuff out of the way at the beginning, as we always do. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, if you're enjoying what you're hearing, watching, wherever you're consuming our content, if you're enjoying it, tell somebody. Word of mouth is really huge for us as far as growing the listener base. So if you like what we're doing and you think someone else might like it, give them a shout, drop the line, drop them our links, let them know where to find us. We're on all major podcast platforms. Plus, we're live streaming to just about every live stream platform that's worth streaming to. So there's that. And then
is Mixer on there, bro?
Yeah, Mixer. Mixer.
Oh, man.
RIP. I mean, it was so long ago, though. It's like in the internet world, it was like decades ago.
Still fun to throw it out
there. I know. And if you're interested to, rating and reviewing, if you guys are into that kind of thing, you can always find us on podchaser.com. So podchaser.com is like the IMDb of podcasts. So it lets you rate and review episodes. It lets you rate and review whole podcasts, connect with creators, all that jazz. It's a pretty cool place. And again, if that's in what you're into, if that's what you do, by all means, head over there, drop us a rating, a review. It really helps us out. And yeah, I mean, that's really it. That's the boring stuff. We're going to just go ahead and dive right in. So yeah, it's a gaming podcast, but we're going to talk a little Marvel here at the beginning.
So we can branch out a little
bit. I mean, Matt and I have been wanting to talk about some other things, not just gaming related, because we obviously have multiple interests. I don't just spend all of my day thinking and dreaming and fantasizing about gaming. I mean, I spend a lot of it doing that, but I also spend a good portion of my day looking into Marvel related stuff or TV shows in general. And the hottest thing on the market right now is WandaVision. So
that's like factually accurate too.
It is the most watched show in the world currently. And I will admittedly say episode 7 was a bit of a lull until the very end for me. It was a low point. It wasn't the greatest episode at the beginning, but it shaped up pretty well. So I mean, I wish I had like a spoiler alert button. So if anyone's watching or anyone's listening and you haven't seen all of WandaVision so far, you're not caught up, I would skip this part or tune out, mute us for a little bit. We'll give you like thumbs up or whatever when we're good to go. Cause we're going to talk a little bit of spoiler material. If you're caught up and you don't really understand what you've seen, we may be able to help a little bit as well. I'm not I don't know how much we're not necessarily the Marvel or comic book source for information. I know a fair amount, but it's again, I could be missing a few things, and I rely a lot on other YouTubers too to fill in some gaps. But so be warned, spoilers ahead. We're going to talk about episode 7 and kind of where we think it's going from there as well. So yeah. So interesting, I find it kind of funny. So I'll start off by saying, like, I find it kind of funny that so far the only person that Vision's let stay normal is Darcy. Like, couldn't he just do that to everybody? Like,
I feel like maybe because like she's so brand new,
Yeah.
She's not as, I guess, affected by it. Everyone else was like losing their minds because they've been in there for God knows how long. So
Yeah.
when they come to, they start freaking out, and he's kind of like, okay, they're crying and losing their mind. I'm just gonna put them back where they were, where Darcy's kind of like, oh, I know what just happened to me. All right, thanks for doing that, bro.
Yeah, it's possible. Because I kind of thought that was interesting at the beginning. I was like, man, he could have just done this to everybody.
Yeah, just kind of,
you know, and left them and been like, all right, see you later.
And also, I think she's kind of losing it a little bit. Wanda is.
Like, yeah. So it's definitely
before. So I think maybe.
Yeah. They definitely hinted that with all the glitching, you know, the milk, the room as a whole, everything's glitching. Apparently, and I don't know how true this is because I didn't do it myself, but if you watch it with subtitles, it'll subtitle like things that she's thinking, but they never put it on the show. Like, so it's, I don't know, it's interesting. It's another layer.
More stuff.
Yeah, it's like, and again, I just saw it today, so I don't know. I haven't verified it. I don't know how true it is. But yeah, if you put it on subtitles and you watch it, like during that whole like milk glitching scene, for example, it'll subtitle things she's saying or thinking in her head that no one is saying and she's not saying, and like a third or fourth person isn't saying when you're just listening to the audio only or watching without subtitles. So it's kind of interesting. It, you know, there's a lot of layers to the show. I was not a huge fan of it at the beginning. Like I figured out pretty early on that they were playing at something larger, and this whole sitcom thing was a part of the act. And but I had a hard time getting in the first few episodes because the old 50s like sitcoms not really my style. But as it's progressed and as things have uncovered, it's, you know, the show is fantastic. Like the big kind of flip with Pietro, if people aren't fully aware, you know, if you watch Age of Ultron and you watch the not Marvel, but the X-Men, the most recent X-Men movies, you know, they are the same person technically. In the comic world, they are Pietro Maximoff. They're the same person. They are both her brother. I had to think about that for a sec. But obviously, since X-Men was set in a different time, they were running out that kind of timeline. Obviously, Marvel has since bought Fox, so that's going to change.
X-Men, so they had to mix it up a wee bit.
But they wanted to do that to kind of throw that wrench in for all of us, because, you know, this is leading up to some bigger things. This is playing into the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness movie. This essentially is setting a lot of groundwork for that movie, because Wanda's going to play a big part in that movie as well. So there's that. So they're throwing some weird things in. They're kind of hinting at like a multiverse. You know, obviously they've already done that with Endgame, but they're, you know, laying on it a little bit more. And then, but if you paid close attention in episode 6, the boys, the twins, and Pietro are the only people that can break her script, essentially, can do things outside of what she subconsciously wants people to do. So that's your first piece of evidence that Pietro isn't really exactly who he says he is.
I'm very intrigued to see what they do with the kids. Like, are they actually, did she?
They're really, it's
2 new kids, because I know they keep saying everything that goes into the hex, she just rematerializes or shifts into something new. So like, you know, you put like a piece of paper in, or I don't know, you put a rope in, it turned into a jump rope with that one guy. Like, did she just completely materialize 2 living beings, or like what's?
Pretty sure she did.
I'm interested to see what happens there
because with the in the comics they do have Vision and Wanda do have 2 twins, and Vision is a robot even in the comics too. So like it was a function of her magic in the comics as well, to my knowledge. So they are, and they will be, they're also setting up a little bit of Young Avengers too, because obviously they're Wiccan and Speed. So Wiccan is I think Billy, I can't remember the exact names. And then Speed is obviously the one that can run fast, just like Pietro. So they're setting up a little bit of Young Avengers action too, with them. And but it's interesting because so for me, you know, that was the first thing. You're like, you know, Pietro said a few things in episode 6 that I was like, oh, you know, he's definitely breaking the mold. And then you don't see him at all in 7 until the very end, when Monica is sleuthing around and he's right there. So
I didn't know that happened because I'm so used to
oh,
post-credit scenes.
yeah,
I didn't watch it, and I was on Instagram, and it's like, oh, when there's finally a post-credit scene, so I had to go back and
yeah,
watch it real quick. Oh, hey, there is.
yeah. So most of 7 was I wouldn't say a letdown, but like, so there was one big thing, everyone thought there was going to be a big tease or a big cameo. So, because they said there is going to be a big cameo, and they mentioned, Monica was going to see her aerospace engineer friend, and for a little while it was thought it was can't remember who they thought it was, but because they didn't say the gender, and then in 6 she said, he's going to be waiting for us over there, so it kind of narrowed it down. A lot of people thought it might have been Hank, the Beast, from X-Men before, pre-Beast, because he used to work for Sword. Yeah. He used to be an agent of Sword, back in his history, he has been. And he would fit the bill. I mean, he has a bajillion PhDs. He's one of the smartest characters in the Marvel universe. A lot of people thought it might be Reed Richards, but they haven't even began casting any Fantastic Four stuff. But it was sort of a hanging point because they didn't show anybody. They didn't show any astrophysicist or whatever, aerospace engineer,
captain that she was friends with, and they're like, "Oh, hey, what's up? How's it going?"
And so, like, I was kind of bummed. Like, that's either a loose end that somehow Marvel forgot about and missed completely, which doesn't happen very often, or there was a reason behind it, and we'll get more of it in 8. Hopefully, that's the case, because the way they were teasing it, or the way they were kind of had it out in the open, like, who else would be versed, or there are not many people in the Marvel universe that would be smart enough to really be versed or to tackle the Hex. Yeah. So there was that. And then obviously Monica forces her way through, and she's obviously becoming Spectrum, I think. So she's been a few different, she's held the Captain Marvel moniker in the past. She was the original Captain Marvel, technically. There was Marvel, who was Captain Marvel, and then as far as a human superhero, she was technically the first Captain Marvel. Then she went to Proton, or Photon rather, and then most recently she settled on Spectrum, and she is an extremely powerful superhero, like on par with Captain Marvel, more or less. And so she's starting to flex her ability. She more or less got them. You could see when she pushed through the Hex, her eyes went all blue. She could see all the electromagnetic waves, and because she's an energy-based hero as well. She can manipulate energy, all different types of energy. And then she basically,
when she kind of like goes at it with Wanda, she like kind of does something, she swats it down.
Yeah, and she settles herself. Like, Wanda's powers don't really work on her. They do to an extent, but not a ton. So that's cool. They're laying the groundwork for that. And then, a lot of people thought that Mephisto was going to be the big bad, and he possibly still can. But they revealed it to be
pulling the strings. And
they revealed it to Agatha. Harkness, yep. Or and which is a big Wanda, Scarlet Witch villain. She's been probably her main antagonist for the most part until recently, where she's become an ally and she's become a teacher.
Was reading about it and just keep saying she's a teacher, so I was like, has she always been good, or
no, she was a villain, a very keystone villain for Scarlet Witch for a long time. And then up until recently she started, like, she became more of an ally, and now she is a mentor figure of sorts to Wanda. So that was cool. So it's interesting to see that, and they've done a good job at, like, kind of capturing a horror thriller-esque type of vibe, which Marvel hasn't really done, which they say is going to be the feeling for the Multiverse of Madness. It's going to be a more along the lines of sort of like a horror, scary movie, however you want to take that. So it's interesting though. So there still is a big cameo, and even with that big cameo promise, no one thought it would be
they were referring to.
Yeah, everyone thought that it was at first, but there's still been, and I think it's gonna be Doctor Strange. I think he's gonna come in the end.
Didn't didn't like Vision Paul Bettany said who he's excited for is someone he hasn't worked with. Wouldn't he have
Oh, really?
technically worked with Doctor Strange and all these past? That's what I thought I heard is that it's someone
Well,
he hasn't
I don't
worked
think
with.
they would have ever filmed together because they
I
were never in
mean,
any
I know
scenes
like
together.
filming, but I feel like uh, Infinity War, you work with them even if you're not
Depending on
doing
where
any
your scene,
scenes.
depending on where your scenes are filmed and when they're filmed. Like go all the way back to Age of Ultron. That the classic hero circle scene where they're all in the church fighting off Ultron's minions.
Yeah,
They weren't all there doing that at the same time. Elizabeth Olsen, the person who plays Scarlet Witch, filmed her scenes last, and so she was doing all her shit, pretending to be with the rest of the Avengers, and none of them were there. So it depends on when they film, when and where they film their scenes. So it's because it's a sort of a loaded statement. I haven't, I'm excited to work with, someone I haven't worked with before. And in all reality, you would think.
I mean, I also think they did do a movie way back. I just Googled it because I think my friend mentioned he did.
Okay.
2009 Creation. I think they did together. And
okay.
Lennon
So maybe
they worked together.
Maybe. So you might be right. But either way, there's a lot of people pulling on it being Doctor Strange because of what it's going to lead kind of directly into.
One did watch Mandalorian, but that's not a Luke Skywalker cameo, I don't think, if it's just Doctor Strange, someone we've seen before.
Yeah.
Guess, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. But they're definitely laying massive foundation for the Doctor Strange 2 movie because I looked into where is it? Can we see here? This right there, Marvel Encyclopedia right there has a bunch of information. So I read it up on Agatha. She has a son named Nicholas Scratch, I believe, and I looked him in the book. He looks just like a Doctor Strange bad guy, basically, just all decked out, robe and stuff like that, uses magic, affiliated with Dormammu, who was the first villain from Doctor Strange 1. So I think they're laying some massive foundation to have Agatha's son come into the mix and be the bad guy for Doctor Strange 2 is what
it's
I
possible, yeah.
on. And maybe that's whoever's playing Nicholas Scratch is maybe like the massive cameo, like he rolls in and
maybe
people won't know him by the Nicholas Scratch name, like who's that, but maybe they will know it by whoever is playing the person.
Yeah, so that's the way. It's the kind of the way they could go. It's either when they say big cameo, it's either a big cameo that's big within the Marvel universe, and you're gonna go, oh shit, that's crazy, or it's a cameo that's a big actor that people are gonna blow their mind off.
Yeah, apparently a Nicholas Scratch, even if you look it up, it says he's in the Marvel stuff and he's in Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, like the newest stuff.
Oh, is he? Yeah.
Very weird. I don't know if there's crossover stuff there or what. But
they have a comic. Sabrina's is it published by Marvel?
I don't know.
There are.
I know, like
the most recent in the Netflix show. It's based on the most recent comics.
Yeah, because it's like Archie and
Sabrina,
they're kind of in the same universe because they were going to do a crossover, but they didn't. It's Marvel owned or whatnot.
I don't know. Either way, it's gotten good, and there's a lot, and so a lot of people had questions about what these shows were going to be used for, and they're basically just used for progressing they proved they could do the big massive storyline throughout 40 plus movies or however many movies it was over 10 years. They proved they could do that. I think the next step is weaving in these shows. Like I think, WandaVision is going to be one season. Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be one season. And basically they serve to progress the universe as a whole, so they can give more character development to smaller characters, not necessarily smaller characters, but characters that haven't gotten their own movies. Like the Hulk would be a perfect, candidate because they haven't done anything with the Hulk since Ed Norton's Hulk, which is technically the same Hulk that Mark Ruffalo is playing. But there's so much wrapped up with the Hulk. There's the Red Hulk, there's Thunderbolt Ross, and which is probably playing in to be one of the bigger villains for the or the antagonist, not a villain per se, but is shaping up to be the antagonist for not even the Black Widow movie, but the Falcon and Winter Soldier. Because they're going to be investigating like the Weapon X, not Weapon X, but the Jesus Christ, I forget what they call it, but it's like recreating the serum that did Captain America, but it's gonna that also created the Hulk, and it's the very end. A lot of people are theorizing at the very end, Thunderbolt's gonna have a Thanos moment where he says, "I'm gonna if you can't get someone to do it right, do it yourself," and he turns himself into the Red Hulk. So yeah, we'll see. Either way, they're doing a great job, like tying things together, but also providing good standalone content that's very bingeable, because you knew going into this that like there wasn't going to be there was going to be tie-ins, but it wasn't going to be like an Avengers movie, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they've done a great job telling the story, and they've done a great job keeping the viewer in the dark, but also right along with the main characters, because a lot of Marvel movies, a lot of superhero movies, you already know what's happening before the main character does, which has its own merits, but in this you don't know what's going on, and they don't know what's going on, so it's interesting. It's a different type of storytelling than they've done in the past, and it's very interesting, and it's working very well.
I think too. Yeah, I think the fact that they're going into having all these shows just because it's pain in the ass to just churn out movie after movie, and I want as much Marvel content as I can possibly watch. So,
and you can progress the story. You can theoretically progress the story just as much from these different shows than you could from like 3 movies a year. You know what I mean? And still do the 3 movies.
I can already see people bitching if they go to the movie theater. Like, what's that mean? I don't know what's going on. I didn't watch the shows.
Oh, so Kat's already been like that. Like when Pietro came in, I was like, oh fuck! Like she was like, oh yeah, because she had watched it before me. She's like, I thought that was weird. Like, but I just didn't really know. I was like, yeah, there's a lot going on, and I was like, there's a lot of theories that she's gonna, the hex when it comes down that's what's gonna spawn the mutants, because everything she's created in the hex becomes reality when the hex goes down. But there's still we're still wondering why Vision can't exit the hex, because theoretically everybody else can. Obviously he's dead, but you would think, if she manifested, well, he's dead for a robot, but she manifested the 2 children, like, you would think that she could have put back Vision and manifested him again, but either way, we'll see.
Yeah, that's the thing though. I don't know, like, she hasn't shown, I guess, pure manifestation power. I mean, like the kids, I was, like I said, I still interested to see what they do. I don't know, because she did that whole spiel too, and that dog died. I can't bring people back to life. I can't do that. So I think that's
because a lot of the play of the TV show is basically her grieving, is her coming to terms with the loss, because like it's she went out there and made this whole world that's happy, hunky-dory, because she literally has lost her brother and like the love of her life, all because this happens like weeks after Endgame essentially gets over. So yeah, I mean, she says that, and I think it's because she doesn't necessarily know that she can, or she doesn't think she can, or because she's never tried, and she's never really faced the fact that they're dead. I mean, in movie timeline, she went right from her brother dying to a whole bunch of other different things. So she's never fully processed that either. So it's interesting, and I think they're doing a great job. Me personally, and
I mean, because I know, like
I'd say I'm probably not spoiling too much anymore after this. So thumbs up, yeah, you guys can come back.
Listen. I know, like in the comics, she like almost like erases the mutants when she gets mad because her children die. So I wonder if maybe they'll kind of go with a reverso, an Uno reverse card, and that's how they bring mutants into the MCU. She like freaks out and sends out just like some massive power wave that just gives people mutant abilities or some shit like that.
That's the thought so far, at least. So we'll see. And then other minor Marvel topic. Charlie Cox, the guy who plays Daredevil in the show,
clap cheeks. I love him.
It did. If you haven't seen the Daredevil shows, the Daredevil show, the seasons of the Daredevil, go watch them. Granted, Daredevil was great. Jessica Jones was really good as well. Luke Cage was pretty good. Okay. Iron Fist was, and the Defenders was, I thought, pretty good altogether. Out of all of them, Daredevil was definitely the best. Yes, and he played Daredevil much better than Ben Affleck could ever hope to play Daredevil. Not knocking on Benny Boy, because he's done, he's a great actor in his own right. But those early Marvel movies didn't have a whole lot of good creative direction. And either way, it's coming back. He's coming back. Daredevil is returning because obviously Netflix canceled all of those shows. Coming back to Disney Plus, as you would imagine, and he's going to be in the Secret Invasion. They're working on Secret Invasion show, and there's talk that he's going to be in Spider-Man 3. Furthest from home.
It's the whole reason why I started watching Daredevil on Netflix, just because I love the Spider-Man movies. Like, I want to be prepared when he comes in and what's going on.
Yeah, because he's a huge, in all the old animated Spider-Man shows and the comics, like him and Spider-Man work together a ton because they're both in New York. Right there. Daredevil is usually portrayed on a smaller scale, mostly just Hell's Kitchen, but he is there. He has helped with larger scale things. Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, it was odd. Obviously Disney Plus wasn't a thing at this point, but it was, I don't want to say odd, but like I guess odd's a good word for me, as far as like them doing that they canceled, but them doing it in Marvel, in Netflix, because you had to. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that Disney had any plans to do a streaming service back then, but I mean, I feel like you had to they had to see the tea leaves falling into play with like how successful the streaming services are.
I mean, or they just didn't think it was going to even be that good. Yeah. They didn't expect the fans to love them as much as they did.
It's true too, I guess.
Get over here. Come over.
Shit. Wow. So that's something to look forward to too, as well. So if you haven't, go back, watch those shows.
Like, not even just that. I hope they like bring it back. Just start doing the Daredevil series all together on Disney Plus, because it'll be good to see him in Spider-Man 3 if he is in that, which I think it was actually confirmed. I don't know. And then I hope he has a pretty big role in the Secret Invasion series, but I say give more.
I mean, I would like a couple things I want to see for Spider-Man. So there's been all the rumors about Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, and them adapting the Spider-Verse a bit. That would be awesome. I don't know if they're going to do that. I would hope they would do that, because it'd be fucking awesome. But we'll see. Either way, I mean, it's Tom Holland, the king of spoilers, hasn't said that, and he's actually said the opposite. And he was like, yeah, I mean, he's like, honestly, he's like, you guys know me. If I knew, I'd somehow spoil it accidentally, and they haven't told me anything. He's like, I know that they don't trust me, but man, I feel like I should know that at the very least, if it was going to happen.
Trolling us, who knows?
Maybe that too. I don't know.
I feel like the whole Daredevil, Matt Murdock, would make just 1,000,000% perfectness, because he's been outed. He's going to need some legal representation to possibly quell what's to come. So
it's true.
Matt Murdock coming at you
to the rescue. All right, so we'll get away from Marvel and stuff like that, but there's a lot going on, and it's been dry this whole past year because of the vid. So
Falcon Winter Soldier starts next month, doesn't it?
Yeah, March. So it's been a dry, and I am a Marvel addict, so it's been a dry year without any movies or anything like that. And like, I've probably watched Endgame like 4 or 5 times, like Infinity War probably just as many times over the pandemic. So it's like, it's nice to get new content, and we market ourselves as a gaming podcast, but we like to talk a lot about Marvel, and we obviously follow it a good amount too. So but we'll jump into some gaming stuff. Valheim. So Valheim. If you haven't seen it, which I honestly wouldn't be surprised, I feel like the people, the avid Twitch viewer, or they probably would know, but it's a smaller game. It's an indie game development studio on Steam. They put it out. It's a Viking survivalist game, sort of like very similar to Rust.
Rust, just Viking.
Yeah, but there,
Rust, Forest. Everyone played that.
The Forest. Shit. The one thing I will say about its comparison to Rust, though, is there is, I don't know, I've never played Rust, so I could be wrong. To my knowledge, there isn't like an actual underlying storyline to Rust. It's literally just fucking build your shit, do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
There is actually a storyline to
Yeah.
Valheim. Basically Valheim is you're in Viking purgatory essentially, and you have to beat these 7 or 10 bosses. And I just started playing it like on Friday, so you have to beat these bosses, win over Odin's favor. He'll bring you to Valhalla, yada yada yada. So there actually is a storyline to it. There was a storyline to the forest. We just never. It's very hidden, and we never bothered.
I think it was very tucked away. Whereas Valheim, you kind of dropped down.
It was
in the center of these pillars. Like, yeah, at the gate, like, hey, there's something to do. You just gotta find it.
Yeah. No, I will say the forest was much more hardcore in the sense of like trying to find things, like even to put markers on your map. You have to find a map first off to even have a map to look at in the forest to find it. And then to put markers on your map, you actually had to have the material to craft markers, and then you would put markers on the ground. So the forest was much more hardcore than Valheim is. Valheim's a great so far. It's a great mix of being a little hardcore. It's being on the survival side. You have to worry about being cold, being hungry. You have to find food. That's how you heal. You craft armor and weapons and houses, and you build your house. You just, all of those things. But also, I would say being more accessible. You have a map right off the bat. You can put markers down without having to fucking build them. So yeah, I think it's towing the perfect line between that hardcore survival game, but also being accessible for people to play and enjoy without like actually feeling like you're surviving in the forest.
Yeah, I agree. The forest was, I can't remember the inventory system, but I think we had to build carts to even move logs that we chopped down, where now you can just chop stuff down and you just put in your inventory.
Yeah. You had a backpack that you could carry things in, but like those, in the forest, those bigger logs, you could carry like one at a time. But you'd have to build like a cart to carry more.
Yeah, that's a little too much. This is so far nice little, like, it's tough, but it's not too tough. So you get a little bit of that flavor of survival game.
Well, and because we've decided to build our homestead on what we assume is a goblin spawn.
Goblins, you kill one, and they come from the same exact area every single time. And I've never seen anything spawn so fast in this game. Like, we'll kill boars or chop down trees, and they're not back that fast. But we were building a house for maybe an hour, and we had 5
died like 3 times,
7 fights with the same goddamn goblin horde that keeps coming over the hills and attacking my house. So
a goddamn house. Get off my lawn.
Once we're settled and I crafted some better weapons and armor, well, now we're going on a goddamn goblin purge. We're gonna find where they are, and we're gonna take them out, so our land's gonna be safe.
This our land. I think that perfectly sums it up. It's a little bit of Rust, it's a little bit of Forest. It has some story to it. It's not obviously the most visually stunning game. It's very basic, but it works. The game was
broken the first log.
It
kind of has like semi.
It's very pixelated. Like, is it supposed to be like that?
It's kind of like Minecraft. Minecraft's all that kind of blocks and squares and pixelated. When I first logged in, I thought my game was broken, but Josh goes, "No, it's supposed to look like that." I was like, "Oh, So like a little bit aspects from everywhere, and it's it's absolutely killing it. It had the best launch on Steam of any survival game by leaps and bounds, and it even once you get out of the side of the survival genre, it's had one of the best launches in general on Steam outside of AAA games. It surpassed like 350,000 plus players in like, I want to say a couple days.
And the ratings, I mean, it's constantly held an overwhelmingly positive review, which I feel like never happens on Steam.
It's like 10 out of 10, I think. You look it up. And like, I just, for a comparison, like, PUBG, when that came out, when that hit like gangbusters, it took them 3 months to surpass the amount of players that Valheim had in under 2 weeks. So it's some pretty good company to be in.
Well, and I thought it was hilarious too, because you sent me the thing. You're like, "Hey, have you heard this game, Valheim?" And I was like, I looked it up, and then literally like that day I went on Twitch, and already some of the biggest streamers were already on it. Like, the days of finding like that. Not that Valheim's going to be the next game. Valheim's going to be a good game in the rotation, much like Fall Guys kind of is, or Among Us is, I guess, a better example. Among Us has played more than Fall Guys at this point in time. But gone are the days where you like some random Joe Schmo finds the next kind of rotational game. Like Fortnite was almost like that, had and because Ninja wasn't as big as he was now, and so like Ninja was one of the first people to jump on it, and but he wasn't streaming to a ton of people, so it wasn't necessarily getting exposure. And it's like not like it is now, where I feel like all the developers and all the studios know to leverage the content creators. So like when a new game comes out, usually people jump on it for the first time. It's because either the studios reached out or the kind of like their streaming circle as a whole has been like, hey guys, we're going to play this because it's a lot of fun. That's kind of what happened with Fall Guys and Among Us. So I feel like, gone are the days of like finding that like small niche game that you could actually like stream it and people would find out about it and you'd get some viewership. Cause it's like, like Co-Carnage and like, Christ, I can't remember who else it was. He was one of the biggest ones I saw, like already on it, like 2 days after I found out about it.
Most companies probably have like a chunk of money saved and put aside, like, hey, we're going to use this to pay streamers to play our game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just have Twitch open with our podcast right now, and Shroud's playing it right now. So Shroud's getting into it. But yeah, it's really good to see. I mean, my own little personal tangent. I'm just been kind of fed up with COD lately. And
I was going to say.
So it's just good to see other games doing good and being popular. And for my own sake, I was like, okay, I'm not streaming COD ever again. Okay, what am I going to play though? I mean, I played Sea of Thieves, which is fun. Valheim is good. I've been doing single player stuff. Genshin Impact is still a lot of fun with a wife, and that gets pretty good traction actually. So a lot of other games out there, folks, besides Call of Duty. Give it a shot.
There are, and you just got to take the leap. I mean, I'm in the same boat as you. I not so much because I'm sick of getting clapped, because I've kind of accepted that. I just was, every time I played COD, especially midweek, I stayed up too late. It was screwing up my sleep schedule. And it wasn't a healthy habit. And I wanted to kick it. And so, basically I was like, all right, I'm not playing COD ever during the week. And it's like, but there's still, and for like 2 weeks, I was like, okay, cool. And I didn't actually play any games during the week. Like I would watch TV, yada, yada, yada. But I've kind of got to the point where like, all right, I've caught up, or I've watched everything I want to watch. So like I need to do something. And I started playing Stellaris again, which has been good because it's not mindless, but it's single player. It doesn't have me as addicted as COD is, where I'll be like, one more game. Oh, just one more game. I can put it down and I can walk away. But then Valheim's the same idea. Like it's just cool to go in and like craft and have fun and build a house. Like I did, I built my house is building right next to Matt's, and I didn't realize that, they went as in depth as they did, because I put a fire and I built a house around a fire because you need to stay warm at night. I was like, oh, there's no way they like built in like smoke building up in your house. They did. Matt walks in and I'm like, man, it's really smoky down here. And then Matt's like, I'm taking damage. I'm like, oh, did you walk into the fire? And he's like, no, it's like, I'm just taking like hits of one, randomly. Like, holy shit. Like they did actually take that into account. So like it's deep enough, it's accessible enough, and it's really not any system, but like most systems are going to be able to play it on high, everything turned up, not a problem. But it's deep in that sense too. There's deeper facets of the game that are going to keep you kind of intrigued and interested. So it's definitely a nice change of pace to COD for sure.
I mean, I will say I'm like, I as much as I get my ass whooped, I love the competitive aspect of COD.
I do too, and that's what keeps me coming back.
Yes, I want to find a game that I can, I don't know, enjoy, but also it's competitive. So I need to, honestly, I keep telling myself
all they would need to do is
play Valorant again, because I actually was winning. But
we'll get into. You thought you'd get out of an episode without us talking about COD. Spoiler alert: you're not going to. So we'll talk a little bit more about it later.
I honestly think that I saw it again the other day. I think on TikTok that someone brought up the whole, like, if you don't buy anything in the store, like if people who buy stuff in the COD store, they get easier lobbies. I think that's like 1,000,000% true. I haven't bought anything from that store in God knows how long, and
I bought LA Thieves pack, and granted, I was just playing with Tim and Bill, so their KDs are low, and they're both on console. But last weekend, when it was just me and them, we never had a lobby over 1 KD.
1,000,000% true. Then I think,
but the minute Sean got added back in this past weekend, it was me and Tim and Sean. We were right back to 1.2, 1.1s. And because like Sean's a 1.4, 1.5, and I'm a 1.6. So it's like, I almost think they've dialed. I don't want to get too much. I almost think they've dialed the KD aspect of the skill-based matchmaking in a little bit more, so it takes a better representation of the whole team. But I don't know for sure. But yes, if it wasn't for Tim and Bill being lower KDs, I would say it was 100% because I bought the LA Thieves skin pack, and that's why I did it. I was like, let's see. And yeah,
let's
like
test it.
8.9, 0.89, 0.95, like all night. We still couldn't get a win because we'd always run into the one fucking sweaty team, like either at the end or at the middle, like getting held by the one other good team in the fucking map. So either way, enough of Valheim. Matt's going to be streaming. We're going to be playing after this, so you can check that out.
Yeah, finish my house. Come check it out.
Exactly. Hopefully the goblins haven't destroyed it.
Twitch.tv/cribs. What's in my crib?
But so Nintendo Direct. This is like their God, what's the word I'm looking for? Here, jump in.
Just announced new stuff for the
Switch.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a year since the last one. I didn't get a chance to watch it because it's like right at 5:00 when I got to work, so I had to work out. Yeah. But I mean, a few of the takeaways that I saw that were, I guess, the bigger ones is that Fall Guys is coming to the Switch, which is,
I think it's perfect.
Perfect
game for the Switch.
Yeah, I think that'll fit in perfect on the Switch. It's a party game, which is a lot of party games are on the Switch and doing well. So that will squeeze in perfectly into the rotation of games. Mario themed DLC for Animal Crossing is coming. The game's still very large, still big, so people will dig that.
Oh yeah, Cat plays it every night.
Then the biggest one, but leaves me a little disappointed because the next topic we'll get into. Biggest one is The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword is getting a remaster for the Switch, and I'm looking forward to that because I played that when it was out in 2011, I think, and that's probably it was a whole lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and so I'll be looking forward to that. They're gonna have to tweak some things because this was on the Wii, and it was very, very heavy on motion because like you'd have to do like a sword attack, you have to put the Wii remote in the air and let it charge up, and then you could like swing your old blade and stuff like that. So it's gonna come with like retooled controls, obviously, because you don't. The Joy-Cons have motion, but most people probably play with a controller. But
yeah,
I think they're gonna still have the motion with the Joy-Con if you want. But if you want to just sit there and game on a controller, they're gonna have a different set of controls for that. But either way, really looking forward to picking that up and playing that because I thought that one was a blasty blast.
I'll be honest, I don't know that I can call myself a true gamer because I have not played really any Zelda games ever.
I mean, I said that before, kind of like even like my very first Zelda game I played was on the Wii. I'd say Twilight Princess because I know like me and you used to go to whose mom's
Crystal's
friend,
out,
Crystal's, yes, and her husband was a big
Debbie,
Zelda guy, yeah.
So
yes, Debbie, Debbie,
and Crystal was her daughter, yeah.
So he would like, let us dick around and play on it a little bit, but I've never actually played one all through myself until I got a Wii and I got Twilight Princess, and that's when I kind of got hooked.
Yeah, like listen, I'll praise Breath of the Wild till the cows come home. Never played it.
I mean, it's tough because I don't blame you. It's kind of like getting a console for. I don't want to say only.
I mean, I have a Switch Lite and I could play it. I just haven't done it. Yeah, I just haven't done it.
I never had a Switch. The Switch we had is Carly's that she brought over from England, so we play on that. But the Switch is fun and it's a good little system, but it's not rolling out the massive library that an Xbox or PlayStation has. So it's tough to have all of it going on. But I mean, you guys Switch Lite. Pick up Breath of the Wild.
I know. It's still $60, man.
Is it really?
Yeah. I mean, it's the best-selling fucking Nintendo game in like the last 10 years.
Into that thing, or can you go buy a used? There's got to be a used.
I mean, GameStop just went fucking platinum, so they're out of the game, man. They cashed in on all their stonk money. So,
like, we're done, bud.
But it's crazy too because Zelda's 35th anniversary was on the 21st. So fucking yesterday.
Yeah, which
I didn't see anything, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about. Neither of us saw anything.
They did nothing. They did not mention it even in a social media post. Like, hey Zelda, happy birthday, bro.
They gave those
like,
big, you know, they have like a Mario Day, or like most recently, but it was like 6 months ago or whatever.
yeah, they had like what kind of Nintendo Direct is. They did that for Mario. They
Yeah,
like,
and it was like
hey,
his, like
here's all
their
this stuff we're
anniversary.
bringing out because it's Mario's anniversary.
Yeah.
Which I know I feel like if you ask average Joe what comes to mind when you say Nintendo, most people are going to say Mario, but like Zelda is
It's
a
right
closer
there for
one
the older
B.
gamers. Zelda's right there too. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and to not even say, "Hey, what's up, Zelda? Happy birthday." That's to me. I don't know if they're sitting here trolling us to drop a big dick reveal because there's no way you don't say anything on your social media platforms for one of your biggest games. So I'm thinking
One
maybe
of gaming's biggest
yeah,
series of all time.
it's
Like,
not
it
just
is
it's
a
just
pillar of
yes.
gaming.
You would put that in like your Zelda's like top 3, top 5 just games of all time, like series.
Yeah.
It's huge. I myself personally, what I wanted, what I was expecting is some Breath of the Wild 2 news because I've heard
Mhm.
rumors that it's supposedly coming along faster than originally planned. So maybe we can get it sooner than originally thought. I mean, there's never any release timeline, but I've just heard rumors that it's coming along nicely. So maybe we get that
Yeah.
early. But the biggest thing I was kind of looking forward to is Mario. They did Mario 3D All Stars where you had Mario Sunshine, Mario 64, and Mario. What's the one in space? I can't remember.
Oh
There's
yeah, I don't.
there's one Carlos one in space. But yeah, so they had those 3 games. What are they called? HD ports, I guess. Where
Yeah.
they ported them to the Switch. So I was like sitting there with anticipation, hoping, praying to God they do something along that lines. They drop a Zelda 3D All Stars, 3 amazing Zelda games ported to the Switch. Like I don't know, like Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess. I was talking about it.
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time. I don't know. Take a pick.
Yeah.
There's plenty of them out there, but
I mean, yeah, there are a ton of them. So,
didn't get
but nothing.
that. Didn't even
Zilch.
get, hey, happy birthday.
Hey, yeah, happy
Thumbs
birthday.
up.
Not even just a, you know, a quick like tweet with just text, you know,
I gotta
nothing.
think, like the dude who runs the social media platform for Nintendo.
He literally got fired on Friday,
like,
and then they haven't had anyone
shit.
to do it.
Like he just woke up, just like hungover, like, oh
Yeah.
man, I forgot to do something.
He was out celebrating Zelda's 35th anniversary.
Yeah,
got too
like,
hungover.
"Ooh,
Everyone's like, "What the fuck are
35."
you doing? Whose birthday is it?" Zelda, man.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't see it on my
Yeah.
timeline. Oh man,
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm so fired. But I mean, yeah, it's kind of disappointing that they, I guess, one just didn't acknowledge one of their best video game series in general ever.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're not getting any new, I guess, ported HD ports like they did for Mario is a big letdown. But
Well, we'll see. The week is young.
yeah,
I mean, they could do it this week.
Maybe they're behind. Maybe they got other stuff they kind of need to finish up ASAP before they can focus on this stuff. But
It's possible, but we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. But all right, we'll finish it off on COD. Like I said, if you guys thought you were getting out of here without some COD talk, you're crazy. Especially considering new season. New season starts on the 25th. So technically, you know, it's like Warzone season 8, but you know, it's season 2.
It's getting a little confusing.
Yeah, it's like Jesus. They should have called it. They should have kept the Warzone numbers going the way it was, and then obviously it's season 1 for Cold War.
Yeah.
Like
the Cold War game itself is season 2.
Yeah,
Warzone season 8. You're bringing in stuff from
Cold
War.
Yeah, you know, obviously it's not the brightest bunch over there at Activision, Treyarch, Infinity Ward, Ravensoft.
Talk about a smart bunch. Oh my god.
I've seen gameplay of it too, and I'm like, I don't want anything to do with Warzone when that's in. Like, I literally, I'll tell all my friends, I'm like, all right, we're gonna go play fucking
wrap it up.
We're gonna play Fall Guys. I'm gonna play Fall Guys all night because I don't want anything to do with this game when those pistols are in. So new season starts the 25th. There's obviously going to be a bunch of content there's a bunch of content for Cold War. There's going to be a bunch of content for Warzone. Probably not a whole lot of content for Modern Warfare because that game is dead at this point. I mean, they don't even really do outside of the seasonal updates. They don't even really do much for Cold War. Like both Modern Warfare
Oh well, yeah.
and Cold War are
Everything is
virtually
obviously just
dead.
focused
Like,
on Warzone.
but even that, they're not even because there's still so many fucking problems with Warzone. Like, they're just woosah. Because they're, I feel like they're not even focused on Warzone. They literally, like, all they care about is the fact that they've had like triple the retention because of their skill-based matchmaking is doing exactly what they wanted it to do, and they're fucking rolling in the dough, laughing all the way to the bank, as per their recent investor call, and that's all they care about. And you know, they're like, oh, well, we don't have to fix anything because people are still fucking playing. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, Modern Warfare is dead. You know, they took away shoot the ship again. So it's like now there's literally no reason to play multiplayer because it's
Like
cancer without
after
shoot.
last Friday.
Yeah. So it's like
Okay.
cancer without shoot the ship. Cold War sucks big donkey balls anyways. Like the
Only reason
multiplayer
anyone ever played
is,
that was to grind guns to be ready for
and
when they came to Warzone.
that is the worst part of Warzone is the fact that you have to play Cold War to grind your guns, like, or
There's so
just
many
do a
guns
bunch
I
of
want to
plunder.
try out, but I'm just like I don't have them grinded, and I don't want to do
Ugh,
plunder for 5 hours, and
I
I'm not
know.
buying the game. So
Yeah, because it's bad. It's horrible. Like, and I was watching some CEL play today, and it's just like I don't know how any of these like. And I've heard people from Optics say like this is a great competitive Call of Duty, and I'm like, but what? I'm like, like I personally, and I think there'll probably be some people, not necessarily anyone in our chat or anyone listening, but I know for a fact there's people that like absolutely despise Modern Warfare and its movement system. I think their movement system in Modern Warfare is the best movement system that I've played in a Call of Duty recently. You know, that's not like jump on the wall, a jetpack, like double jumps all over the place. Like I felt like it was fluid. It was semi-realistic. You know, you moved quickly and easily. And Cold War is just janky and like slow, you know, and unathletic, as the doc would say. Like that's just how I feel about it. So
I
I
mean,
don't know.
yeah, I only played the beta of it, so I can't even really remember. I mean, I will say though, the amount of times I'm getting like people jump around corners and lighting me
Dude,
up or jump shot me or
actually,
drop shot me in Warzone. I would like to think if people are complaining that Cold War is slow or jagged, I feel like they address those issues, and I would like it probably.
yeah. So nothing confirmed. I knew we'd get off onto a bit of a tangent the minute we got to Call of Duty. Nothing's confirmed, and I haven't really looked it up at all. But as of this past weekend, Sean and I both, or multiple times, Sean, me, Bill, Tim, both experienced moments where dudes were, you know, we're all used to the bunny hop around corners, you know, that, and at this point in time, you played enough, or I've played enough to expect it, and I kind of know how to aim for it, yada yada yada. We think that there is something effed up with some of these stocks from Cold War, like the Raider stock or like the QCB or close quarter combat stock, whatever it is, because there were multiple instances where people just didn't bunny hop across like corners. They fucking Superman flew. They like
I
flew
mean,
further than any person bunny hopping I've ever seen do.
I don't know if
And I was
they'd ever.
spectating Sean, and he was doing something similar, and he literally shot forward. So like I don't know if they've, you know, accidentally did something with a movement like bug when you're using some of these Cold War guns with the stocks, because like
Oh
I'm
yeah,
when I'm telling you, like
they're broken for sure, man.
I was watching Sean, I was spectating Sean, and I mean when I tell you this man fucking flew like Superman, I mean he fucking flew.
Well, did
He
you ever
just was
see that Mac 10 that Tim built out where the mobility was legit off the chart?
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like I think
Well, probably
but
building
like
guns like that.
I use that Mac 10 and I can't do like either I'm not using the right stock or I'm not pressing the right buttons or whatever, but I can't replicate what I saw. This guy, you know those like
or something. There's like hit a button.
maybe
Slide,
you know those
dive.
you know those like shitty one single story like L buildings that are like the one that's next to the armory in like Cashtown. You know,
Yeah.
so like I think Sean was in one of those. And you know how deep it is from that like, so say you enter from the buy and you go all the way to that back wall from that double door entrance to that back wall. You know how like generally you can't really you can't bunny hop that whole way. This guy did. Like he ran in, flew all the way to the wall in the air, and we were like, and because Sean was ready for it, we're spectating, and he was ready for it, but the dude just flew in like a rocket ship and went all the way to the, and we're like, what the fuck? We're like, I have never seen anyone move like that, and so like, tangent. We think something. Lo and behold, surprise, surprise, something is bugged a bit with some of either the stocks, because they did fix some of the grips, so maybe some of the grips are messed up again too.
Are all fucked up. I mean, I
wouldn't surprise me
using a bunch of different stocks because you run faster aiming down your gun like side to side than you would normally with some of these stocks on. So, but there's broken stocks in this game.
Yeah. So either way, it's fucky. But new season, yeah, maybe they'll fix some things. Like my hope is that Ravensoft is just so overwhelmed with the fucking pile of shit they inherited from Treyarch and Infinity Ward that it's just taken them this long to sort through everything and come up with fixes, or like they're working on fixes for everything. Like that's my only hope, is that that's what's happening, and not that they're obviously, because if you look at it now, they're just blatantly disregarding everything, and they're fixing some things here and there, but not a whole lot of the major stuff. So, well, I mean, I don't know.
What do you mean the stuff they got from Treyarch and
Ravensoft's
like doing it together?
No, Ravensoft's inherited it all from them now. So as far as I know, Warzone specific, Ravensoft is the developer now, overseeing Warzone. So everything moving forward from like a month or so ago, or more, has been in Ravensoft's hands.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, then yeah.
I mean, there's too many cooks in the kitchen. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. Like,
yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking too. Is like there's probably just so much lack of communication. If all of them are working on one game together, there's probably just so much shit that can go wrong or be missed. And, even if Ravensoft is kind of like, this is all ours, we got this. Yeah, the game was already in such a shape that they had. I mean, how long has Warzone? Well,
they probably didn't want to take it on. I think Activision was like, "Hey,
Warzone's been up for a year.
Guess what? We got this.
Got a year's worth of shit to wade through." Because I still feel like there's just things from day one that you could still find issues with in the game.
But all right, so off on that tangent. Either way, new season starts on the 25th. 3 confirmed new weapons. Another Galil. Like they're making a Cold War. Like, why are they making duplicate guns? I guess is my question. So it's the AMAX, the Modern Warfare AMAX is essentially the Galil. And they're bringing the Galil in for Cold War for season 2. They're bringing the CX-9, which is like a Scorpion of old. So it's an SMG. Apparently, it's going to be pretty good. It's pretty accurate. It's like a truck for an SMG. Hopefully, there'll be a little bit of a change in the SMG meta. Although there are lots of options. The Bullfrog is viable. Both MP5s are viable. The MAC-10 is viable, and the Vector is viable right now. So there are a lot. But generally speaking, you only see people running the MAC-10. Maybe it's because of this hidden fucking rocket jump that no one's really known about until now.
Broken, so.
And then the crowning jewel of the new weapons.
Can't wait to see this. That's all I gotta say.
Are going to be a pistol that, when fully leveled, well, it's fully automatic from the get-go, but when fully leveled, you can have 80 round mags, and it can be a Kimbo, so you can dual wield. Like,
solid.
With not just Treyarch's, but with Infinity Ward's track record with pistols, snake shots, and then the Renettis, and then the Diamatis.
Those are Cold
War. Why? Yeah, Cold War Diamatis. Okay. Yeah. Why in the fuck would you give all these cracked out 12-year-olds dual wielding 80 round fully automatic pistols? Like, it's going to be an absolute shit show for like the first. It's going to be just like the DMR meta for the first week. It's just going to be unbearable.
So
And
everyone is just gonna be ghosted off the rip because they're gonna have
exactly what
missiles
happened with
as
the DMR.
secondaries and
Yeah.
then like a
Which have
M16 or
more ammo capacity than all the ARs in the game have at all. You know, you'd have to get an LMG to get as much ammo as you're going to get with those things.
this is interesting just because I remember like 2, 3, 4 months ago. I remember like I don't know if I said it when we were playing games or I thought to myself the what's it called the Cap 40 was a full auto pistol from
Oh
like
yeah,
Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 3, and I fucking love that gun. It's a nice little sidearm, and I just thought to myself they should bring the Cap 40 into COD into Warzone. I'd love it. It
no,
seems
they
like they might
should.
have done that, and I
It's
guess I
gonna
should
be.
have bite my tongue because I
I
feel like this is
know.
going to be an absolute shit show when you hear those things running around. But hey, we'll see.
Yeah. So those are three. You know, there may be four. There, I've heard of a possible sniper rifle. So there's at least an AR, an SMG, pistol, and maybe a sniper rifle. So possibly four weapons. This new zombie event coming. I forget the name of it. I was just looking at it earlier too, and I absolutely forget the name.
Outbreak.
Yeah, Outbreak. Yep, that's what it
I
is.
want to
Yeah. Because if you play now, there's like lightning clouds over kind of port area, and there's a cargo ship on its way to port, and like it plays in from like not Black Ops, but it plays in from earlier. They said they lost contact with it. It was coming from somewhere. They lost contact with it. So, you know, the thought is, or my thought, most people's thought is that like the ship is going to have zombies on it, or the portal to the zombie world, you know, whatever. Like somehow that's going to create the zombies or bring the zombies to Verdansk. You're going to have this outbreak event. And then I've seen from Modern Warzone, I think that's the Twitter account, Modern Warzone. They're like they're Warzone, Modern Warfare leakers or intel people, kind of like Charlie Intel. That on the 11th of March, that's when the nuke is going to go down. And so the theory is the outbreak event leads to a situation or part of the storyline in Verdansk where, you know, it's irredeemable, and either to stop the spread of the zombie outbreak or the zombie infection or, you know, the zombie portal, however they play it, they've got a nuke Verdansk, and that's you're going to be able to play in a nuke to Verdansk, but then that's also going to spur the new map, which hasn't technically been confirmed, I think, to my knowledge, or at least been confirmed. You know, it secretly confirmed from like COD insiders and stuff like that. So yeah, so we'll see. I mean, you know, 4 seasons later, you know, when they said they were going to nuke it, then they're finally going to nuke it, I guess. So we'll see what it does. I mean, I don't know, you know, nuke may be a little far, I guess, to change the landscape of Verdansk, but we'll see what it changes to and how long it stays that way. And if you get the option to choose either Verdansk or the new map when you drop in, or if it's just going to switch right to the new map and that's going to be the status quo forward.
They're going to blow this shit up and bring us to a new map. A lot of people commenting or hoping it be kind of like a jungle themed map based on all the Black Ops or
and so
cinematic trailers and stuff like that.
Yeah, so the thought is it's going to be a amalgamation of the Firebase or the Fire Team maps from Cold War. So it's somewhere in the Ural Mountains. So it's like all mountainous and like jungly mountains and stuff like that. And then there's going to be the most recent Fire Team is like it's kind of like a city or not city, but more urban with some water. So like maybe there's going to be a swimming mechanic added in for season 2 or at some point when the new map comes in, which is probably just going to break the game even further. And then, you know, the trailer was a great point, because when we were going to do the episode last week, was when the cinematic trailer came out. And obviously, you know, it's sort of set in the Cold War. Well, you would, you know, all the people or all the characters in the cinematic trailer were Cold War characters. But it was, you're flying over a new map, or it looked like a new location. It was jungly, mountainous, like, so, you know, my thought was you're starting to see some first glimpses at what could be the map. And then the thing that I thought was very interesting, and I did my research on it, all the ends of all the cinematic trailers, like because it always ends with somebody saying something. You know, season 4 or 5 was, you know, Price with Ghost or whatever in the Armistice, the plane,
Yeah.
the doors open and he's like, you ready? Like Bravo 6 going dark, and it's 4 people. There's the one with Nikolai and what's her face. There's 2 people. But all of the thing they all have in common, the end of all the seasons since Warzone has started, is it always shows a total amount of people that are playable in the Warzone mode, whether it's duos, trios, or quads. You always see either 2, 3, or 4 people, or 1 rather. So there's that too. So solos, duos, trios, or quads. You saw 6 people in the cinematic trailer for season 2. They get off the helicopter. There's 3 on each side. It's very, it's very COD-esque what they've done recently. They get off it and they're like geared up, and it just quick, pan out, and there's the forest and there's the 6 people. So, there have been talks of them increasing the total player count. And there's also been talks of them increasing the playable like squad size. So we'll see. I mean, 150
chaos.
I know. I mean, the map would have to be bigger. And from what I've seen, and from the soft confirmations of the new map, it is bigger than Verdansk. Like when you look at Verdansk, supposedly the playable area is the whole size of the Verdansk map. When you pull the map up, obviously Verdansk has got, like I feel like 3/4 of the map, when you look at it, is technically unplayable territory.
Yeah.
And so from what I've heard, it is like that whole size of the Verdansk map, including the unplayable areas, are the size of the new map. So, they could go up to like 230, 250 or something like that, or 300.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I thought it was interesting. I kind of thought it was, I could be looking way too far into things, but like, they lay Easter eggs in all of these sure. things. In the new cinematics, you always see 1 or 2 of the new weapons. You saw the Galil, you see the CX-9 in the new trailer as well. So it's like a lot of what they show you are things to expect for the new season. And like I said, they have a track record of showing the amount of people that are always a playable feature in Warzone at the end of the trailer. And this one was 6 people. So take that with what you want, or for what you want.
Just be like, did they announce like the size of the Outbreak game mode that's coming up at all? Like,
no,
that could be 6, or
yeah, it could be.
I mean, because like to your point, like some of the things like the Alcatraz map or whatever, Resurgent, the new map they added as a little side thing that has like what, 2 to start with or 3 to start with. So I
think it was 3.
Yeah, it could be 6 people playable, but I guess it won't be the main game if you want to.
It's possible, yeah. But, I mean, that's true too. Yeah,
be interested to see.
I mean, but if it's not the main game, it's definitely going to be a test. It'll be a test run for sure.
I would love to see like a new map, a new actual map, not like a side map like the Alcatraz place was. An actual like, here is the main guy. So I was saying to myself the other day, like, give me like a PUBG OG map, but like COD styled, just wide open terrain and jungles or this or that, and like with a little bit of small.
I don't know though. There. I mean, because that's the problem with 90% of the current map is just there's just no place to hide. Like, and with the way with PUBG, the thing PUBG had for it, the reason you could get away with so much open space is because it was much harder to shoot people at range. The way the map is created now in Verdansk, and the way the guns shoot, and the way everything is built is for the gunplay and the gun balance. If you get caught out in the open, you're dead in like a second, less than a second, and it's they've taken, the resurgence of the sniper rifle is good. I mean, cool. It's all right. Like, I think every gun should have its place. And for a while there, the sniper rifles weren't used at all. Like the ARs were so accurate at such distance that sniper rifles weren't really needed, because you could challenge a sniper rifle at 250 meters with a kilo, and you would get more shots on them, and it would made it hard for the sniper to get a shot off, because it was you would get peppered. They've nerfed all the AR ranges, and now the sniper rifles, but even with that nerf to the ranges, the sniper rifles are still being used at closer quarters, because like they've increased all the ADS speeds and shit like that for everything. And it's it's gone a little too far in the other direction where I'm getting fucking headbanged by a car at every fucking distance. Like Sean for a little while thought that the hitbox on the car was fucked up, like the bullet, maybe the projectile, as it's rendering or whatever, has a bigger hitbox because it like these kids didn't randomly become sniping gods overnight. Like theoretically, we're playing in the same tier lobbies that we've always been playing in. And there's never been this many snipers. And if you don't use something for 8 months, how are you going to be this good at it when you pick it up again? You know what I mean? Like, so like, where did all these god tier snipers come from?
You're seeing them rise to the top because they've always stuck with it. They might have
Maybe
been fried during the AR meta, so you never really saw them. But now, like, yes, it's our time to rise up. I've been working at this forever, so here's my car skills.
I guess I don't know, but it's getting a little infuriating. It's better. 2 weekends ago, it was. I mean, I was getting card everywhere, by whole teams. It was like paparazzi. You peek out somewhere, just glint. It's gotten better, and people are going back to the AR SMG a little bit more, but yeah. So I think they need to buff the range a little bit more on the ARs, nerf the ADS times a bit on the sniper rifles, and that'll bring everything. In my opinion, that would bring everything in line to make it so ARs are still a little more viable at range. Sniper rifles are still viable at that range too, but they're not as good up close like they are now. And then you still got the SMGs, like they're close to having everything in a pretty good spot. Like there are a lot of guns that are usable and viable right now. And so they've gotten better. Obviously they had the huge hiccups at the beginning of the integration and the Diamati and the DMR zone just fucked everything up. But they've worked pretty well to kind of even things out, and it's close. It's real close in my opinion.
Yeah, they've gotten themselves out from underneath a massive shit pile that was the beginning with those two guns that you mentioned. See what happens with this full auto.
I know.
It's in a game's in a good spot gun wise. It's just I don't know, these cheaters or people is playing. So
I was gonna say that
weird and strange.
There are a lot of sweaty camping teams. Yeah. There's a ton of like aggro for no reason teams, like kids that are just in helicopters chasing people down. I'm like, you realize we're in a fucking 1 KD lobby. Like you're not famous and you're not going to be famous. So like, why are you pushing every fucking piece of movement you see? And it's like, I mean, yeah, sure. I get it. Kills are fun. Yeah, sure. But like some of the pushes these kids are doing, like, why would you even why are you on this side of the map? Why are you over here? Like, we'll be over.
Run into just random areas. Like I'm in a single house in the middle of fucking nowhere. Why are you?
Whole fucking squad comes running in with Mac 10s. You're like, what are you doing here? Oh, well, we saw your one blip on the UAV and we just couldn't stand that, and we had to kill you. It's like, well, fuck me, Christ. Yeah. So and then there's super sweaty kids, super aggro kids, and then there's still cheaters. I mean, there's still we've come across less since the most recent ban wave, but it's still happening. So, yeah. I don't know. Other than that, I mean, that's COD thoughts. You said you thought you were going to get out of an episode without us talking about COD. Well, you thought wrong. So that's. I know. I only play it on the weekends.
Play it once. Play it twice. Don't spend any money in the store.
I know. Well, that's how you get easy lobbies, though, is spend money. Vote with your wallet, or speak with your wallet, rather, is what they always say. But all right, we're gonna wrap this up. Man, I want to go play some Valheim.
Mansion.
Yeah. So for everyone who stuck around for the stream, thank you guys for sticking around. Thank you guys for watching. For anyone listening to this on audio version, thanks for the support. Thanks for listening to the episodes. Hopefully you listen to every episode or parts of every episode. That's cool. And for those people, we salute you. We really appreciate it. Again, I'll hit on all the boring stuff. If you like what we're doing and you know someone who will also like what we're doing, let them know about us. Drop our info to them, our social medias, our podcast links. We're on all major podcast platforms. And if you are the type of person that rates or reviews, things, videos, podcasts, items that you buy from Amazon, go and hit us up on podchaser.com and give us a rating, a review. like I said, if that's something you're into, if we deserve it, obviously, if we've done a good job and you want to give us a rating and a review, that helps us out a lot too. Other than that, you can go and follow the show's social media. Everything is basically at W_key_podcast. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, but as always, I'm sort of slacking on all of those. So there is not a ton of content there, but I hope to get better.
Waves. I'm like, yeah,
I know.
post, and I'm like, I'm tired.
Exactly. And then, yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't bother with my social media, so I'm not going to give it to you. But Matt, hit him with your stuff, and then we'll get the hell out of here.
Technique on Twitter, don't use that much. Technique TV, Instagram, use that decent amount. Like I said, that's one of the ones that I use a lot. Then I haven't this week yet. And hell, we'll even throw Technique on TikTok. That's where I'm hitting a lot more. Is trying to use TikTok to grow, and like I'm
trying to use TikTok as well. J Frosty.
I see success on it, and I need to get back into it.
I know.
I'm just lazy and haven't done anything yet. But check those out, and Technique on Twitch. Which, yeah, I'm about to play some Valheim on that right now. If you're watching the stream, you want to stick around, come over and watch me build a crib.
I think it's gonna auto. You're on the host list anyways or whatever, so it'll probably hop right over. So you can just chill right on our page if you want, or you can go over Matt's and talk and give us both shit because I'll be there technically. Other than that, we're gonna get out of here. Again, thank you everybody for sticking around. Thank you everybody for watching, everybody for listening, and for all the support. We're small and we just do this for fun, and the fact that you guys are along for the ride, makes us happy. And so other than that, we're going to leave you with what we always say. It's our slogan. I should print up. We should do I actually do have it on the mouse pad, and I forget about that. You can't spell win without W.